The last video that I made with my Honda SCL500 was about 2 months ago, and I gotta be honest, the response to that video is not what I was expecting at all. And unfortunately, I think it's safe to say that after reading through all of the comments from that video, it just has to go. There seemed to be a common theme where everybody agreed it's just a little bit uglier than they like, and they're not really a big fan of what I did with it, so it definitely has to go. Oh wait, you thought I was talking about the bike itself? No, I'm talking about the number plate. You guys don't remember that? The last video that I did was installing the Kaufman's exhaust on the SCL500, and when I did that, unfortunately, it leaves that big, ugly stock exhaust bracket hanging out. So we had to do something to cover it up, and I came up with the number plates, which I am a huge fan of, but it seems like the consensus is that you guys are not. So today, those number plates are coming right off, and I actually have 3 different options for you guys. Anything from new number plates all the way up to saddlebags. Yes, saddlebags, plural. You may or may not know the stock exhaust comes all the way up here, so obviously you can't fit a saddlebag on the right-hand side, but with how tucked out of the way the Kaufman's is, now you can. And at the end of the video, we have a surprise mod, a secret mod that I think you guys will like a lot. Make sure to subscribe if you're new here. Let's jump straight into it. Now, before these number plates come off, let me just plead my case and say that I still actually think they look really good. Lots of people said that the white stuck out too much and that they wanted to see black number plates, but that's kind of like the whole point, you know? Number plates are there so that if you're in a race or whatever, you can easily see the numbers, so they're supposed to stick out. And not only that, but I feel like the white just gives it kind of like an old school vibe, you know? Like I feel like this is kind of like retro modern, and lots of the bike has the modern aspects, and then that throws in the retro a little bit more. So honestly, I still like them a lot, but the internet bullied me into changing them, so let's go ahead and take them off, and I'll show you guys what else we have.
Brother, what's that?
And with the number plate gone, you can see the giant, hideous stock exhaust bracket that we're left with, and obviously you can see why I had to cover it up. Some of you in the last video were like, oh, I didn't even notice it until you pointed it out. I wouldn't even put anything there. You'll never even notice it. And to those people, I say, you have zero taste, and I don't want to hear your opinion on anything, because there's no way anybody in their right mind leaves this just hanging out. Now, a decent amount of you guys said that it actually wasn't the idea of number plates that you didn't like. It's the fact that they were bright white and stuck out like a sore thumb that you didn't like. And lots of you guys suggested maybe just doing number plates that were black with orange numbers so that it would match the bike better. So that's exactly what I made and exactly what we're going to try out first. So let's throw them on and see what you guys think. Well, what are we thinking? Is the black and orange a vibe, or is it not? Is the rectangle shape a vibe, or is it not? I'll be honest, personally, I'm a little bit torn, and I think part of me leans towards liking the color combo, but the other part of me leans towards really liking how much this pops and how this just feels more retro. Now, I decided to go with the rectangle shape because I felt like it was a little bit more like modern feeling, and I'm still kind of torn on that. I don't think black would look right in an oval, but I'm not sure if the rectangle look fits the bike. Part of me thinks it does, part of me thinks it doesn't, and I'll be honest too, I think it might look better if the orange matched a little bit better. I don't know how well you guys can tell from the camera, but this orange is actually the exact same orange as this logo right here, and with just this, it seemed like it matched the orange of the bike well enough, but in a scale this big, I kind of feel like it's too light and doesn't match that perfectly. I have decided that if I keep it, I'm just gonna take the LifeOfBurch sticker off of here because I feel like it's too much and it kind of clashes. I'm also not sure if I'm a big fan of these. Oh, by the way, the bubbles will go away. Don't mind that. I just did them yesterday. Those will subside. But I'm not sure if I like these also because it drives my OCD crazy, the fact that these bolt holes aren't even. And I had to do that in order to get this like dead even with the angle of the top of the seat. So my OCD is happy there. It's just not happy there. With the oval ones, we could have the bolt holes even and have the LifeOfBurch logo bigger, which is why that one was such a pain in the ass to do and this one was not. Because with something round, you don't have to line up a line with the top of the seat, you know? Like I made sure that the top of the number plate hit the top of the seat, but it can be at a little bit more of an angle without looking funky. Oh yeah, and it probably goes without saying, but these number plates are just attached the exact same way as the other ones with the same spacers that I painted black and the exact same bolts. Check out the last video for the exact specs on what the spacers are and what paint I use and what bolts I use, because honestly, I don't remember. But for now, the moment you've all been waiting for ever since that last video, let's check out the saddlebag setup. And did I mention the saddlebag install is as simple as, yeah, I'm gonna come right out and say it. I think these might be my favorites. I mean, come on, dude. You cannot convince me that ammo can saddlebags are not the look for this bike, dude. They fit so perfect. She's a girthy Bertha from the back. And not to mention, we're only about 40 bucks in for this whole setup between the saddlebags and the hardware. And they're fully waterproof because they're ammo cans and they're each lockable in 3 different places. And if that's not enough for you, it's also worth mentioning that they're sleek enough that they have the exact same side profile size as the number number plates, but between the two of them, they hold over 7.5 liters of storage. And the install might not actually be as easy as a clap transition, but it's about as close to that as you can get. So as you can see, we have the exact same spacers here that we used for the number plates. And then on the inside, you pop it open and you can see it's mounted up right there. And we have rubber bushings on the inside and the outside to keep it all watertight. And of course, since it's an ammo box, you can see the rubber stripping right here to keep the top of it watertight. Now, one of the issues that I ran into with mounting them up actually happened on the left side. I forget if I mentioned it in the first video with the number plates, but it's actually a little bit uneven in the back here. Because of the chain drive, this shock actually sticks out about a 1/2 inch further than this side. And I use spacers that are the same length on both sides. So this actually sits a little bit closer to the shock than it does on this side. And that was fine on the number plates, but because these have more weight to them, they were kind of like wanting to lean in and hit the shock. So my solution to that is this little bracket right there on both sides. You can't see that. This little bracket right here that I have coming from that spacer down to the corner here, and it's some nice thick metal, so you can't even push this into the shock if you wanted to. Now that little bracket actually came from this cool little box set that I found on Amazon that comes with just a bunch of pre-painted, pre-drilled random brackets. I think it's for like furniture stuff, who knows? But you have 5 different brackets of each size, so you have anything from the 8-inch all the way down to, I think it's like a 2-inch or 1 inch. Is that 1 inch, 2 inch? Probably 2 inches. And we ended up using the 4-inch that comes out of there. The only thing is that these holes are not big enough. They have to be drilled out slightly to fit the M8 bolts for that. But these drill bits right here made light work of it. This is what I use for any time that I need to drill through metal. And we just used the 5/16 inch bit in our drill, and it made light work of this stuff, drilled that hole out, and then we just mounted it up right there. And then this stuff is just stuff you can find at Home Depot. You got a 90mm M8 bolt, 80mm M8 bolt, 2 rubber washers for each one, and 1 washer. Oh man, one last good look at these things before we swap them out for our final and sleekest option, but something tells me these will be going back on soon. And you know what they say, take a picture, it'll last longer. Don't forget that every video that I film, every trip I go on, even behind the scenes, just kind of daily stuff, I'm always taking Polaroids along the way, and I actually send them out to Patreon members at random. April's not even over yet, and I've already sent out, I think, over 35 Polaroids, so definitely hop in there and make sure you don't miss out. Check out patreon.com/LifeOfBurch to find out more. But let's not get distracted. It is time for the final thing. Sheesh, I told you the last option was the sleekest, dude. Check this out. It covers the bracket, but doesn't stick out any further from the bike than any other parts of it, and it just looks so good, so much more streamlined than the other options, and it gives you a little bit of storage and can still be waterproof. As sold as I was on those saddlebags, I think this might be my go-to option for daily use, honestly. So this is actually a handlebar bag made by Torque Motorcycle Company, and I actually met the owner of the company in Daytona Bike Week, and I was talking to him. I looked over and saw this bag, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, something tells me that'll fit this space perfectly. Now this thing is super rad. It's not your typical handlebar bag. You can see that it's like a lot more heavy duty than like your typical bags. This is what I've run on some of my other bikes, the Kemimoto bag, and you can see it's just a lot more like flimsy and like rinky dink, as opposed to like this guy's a lot more solid. Hopefully you can tell. I don't know, I'm trying to squeeze so you can see through the camera. And while your typical handlebar bag is kind of like, I don't know, like just flimsy and cheap feeling on the inside, also, this one is anything but. So if we look in here, we have the rainproof cover right here, which I'll get to in a second, but also you can see the inside is like a lot thicker, like almost, I don't know how to describe it. I don't want to say pool liner, that's not what I mean, but it's like thick, you know? I don't know if this part is actually waterproof, but it feels like it compared to that, which just feels like fabric. And then like I said, you have your 100% waterproof cover right here.
So whenever you need to, you just stretch that puppy over like so.
And boom, she's waterproof and you're ready to rock. Now install for this is gonna be the easiest out of all the options. Honestly, I could have just zip tied it to the frame, which is what I previously did testing out that one. But I wanted something a little bit better than that, especially since this one's so much heavier duty. It didn't really want to wrap around it as much as the flimsy one did. So what I did is I took another one of those 4-inch brackets that comes in the pack. I drilled out one of the holes, one over from the side to the big enough size for the bolt to pass through. I mounted it up with the 2 bolt holes facing the rear of the bike, just going at the same angle as the frame. The bag comes with 4 different Velcro attachment straps, so I took one of them and put it on the end and slid that over the new bracket that we put on. Took another one and wrapped it around the exhaust bracket, you know, using the thing that we loathe to our advantage. Then I popped the seat off and took a 3rd and final Velcro strap and put it on the other side of the bag and put it around around the bike's frame itself. So now between these three straps, you can see this thing is on there and it's not going anywhere. Can't flap out to the side because of this one, can't move front to back because of these two, and it can't come off of the bike because of that one underneath the seat going around the frame. Overall, I am super stoked on this, and the fact that right now it's only like 45 bucks. I think they're typically 65, the website said, but they're on sale for 45 right now. You just can't beat it. I think this really goes well with like the sleekness of the bike, which is like more in line with what I want. You know, I've been taking lots of stuff off, so as much as I like the saddlebags, it really does add a lot of like kind of like muscle to the bike, whereas I want kind of like a sleek look, and I think this really accomplishes that. Now, before we move on to our secret mod that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, make sure to leave a comment and let me know which of the 4 options you like the best, or even just put a list of like 1 through 4 best to worst. We have our white number plates, our black number plates, our ammo can saddlebags, and the Torque Motorcycle Co. handlebar bag. And also, before we move on to the secret mod, we have one thing to take care of real quick, unfortunately. Have fun with her. I will. Have fun. Later, man. And just like that, boys, the Miata is gone to a good home. Well, as much as it hurts to now have a Miata-sized hole in my heart and garage, unfortunately, the show must go on. It was for the best, and it is finally time to throw on the secret mod, which is right there. Well, the secret is officially up because the secret mod that we're installing today is a shorter front fender. Ever since I took off the rear fender, I knew that I wanted to either take off the front fender or do something smaller just to kind of match the sleek vibes. But after riding the Honda Navi without a front fender for just a couple of rides, I quickly realized that I do not want to go fenderless because I would just get splattered with water and it would not make sense at all. So honestly, at first I was gonna take the stock fender and just like cut it down myself, you know, like maybe cut the end off and then use that to trace the shape and just do it myself, until I found this fender right here, which is already set exactly how I want it. Hopefully you guys can tell the front end is definitely a decent amount shorter, probably a couple inches, but then the back of it actually goes down the exact same distance as the stock fender. So hopefully we shouldn't get too much water spray. So I feel like this is kind of the best of both worlds. Now you might be wondering, I saw 2 packages, what is that over there? Well, the other package is another SCL500 front fender. Now I know what you're thinking, I'm sure you guys are fully on board with the short front fender, but you're like, why the hell would we put on this gigantic dirt bike front fender that doesn't even match the bike at all? And the truth is we're not, but we had to buy this in order to get that. Honda actually sells these 2 things together, so they sell this to go there so that it doesn't fling up as much, since this is just a front piece, if that makes sense. So essentially both of these are designed to work together, but we're only going to run this one for kind of like a cleaner, more like cafe look. But in order to do that, we had to buy the whole kit from Honda, which altogether was still only like 95 bucks. Now believe me, I wish there was a way to take the fender off without taking the front wheel off, because it just sketches me out every time I have to use one of these stands to put a bike up, especially the rear and the front. I've actually never even lifted a bike from the front myself before, so fingers crossed. But yeah, there's just no way that I could get to those bolts without the front wheel coming off. So wish me luck. Is it a good time to mention that I threw my back out earlier today? Okay, light work, light work. Amazon special holding up good, knock on wood. Okay, I'm not nervous, you guys are. Dude, let's go. Let's freaking go. The reviews were saying that the stands weren't very stable, but they are super stable. And of course, the most important next step is realizing that what you need is a 1/2-inch drive, and you only have 3/8, and now you have to drive 10 minutes home to go get it and 10 minutes back. Please hold. Okay, at least while we were gone, the next Polaroid developed. That's looking super dope. Anyway, as I was saying, 14mm hex bit and 19mm socket. Break this puppy free. Oh, there we go. Take the bolt off, 12mm pinch bolt on each side. Ooh, that took the finish off. Nice, Honda. Yep, on that side too. Outstanding. Ow. Push the axle out while supporting the front wheel. And then it'll drop down carefully. Boom, dude. Oh yeah, these like sleeves or collars might fall off. That's fine, just make sure you don't lose them. Oh yeah, shout out Dino for getting me this rolling seat. I kind of forgot that I had brought it with me. He saw that in my last live stream I was sitting on the ground, so he sent me this, and it's freaking great. Thank you, especially when I just threw my freaking back out this morning. All right, so now on the inside there are 4 5mm Allen keys to get out. and boom, she's free. Okay, so these are the two fenders side by side. This is gonna be the stock one. This is gonna be the shorter one. And I was wrong about the back side being just as long. I mean, it's pretty close, but you can see it's maybe like a ½ inch to an inch shorter. And then up here, it's like, I don't know, 2 to 3, maybe 4 inches, who knows, shorter. I don't know how well it shows through on the camera too, but this is almost the shorter one. Look at me just peeking over it. The shorter one is like almost like a more flat finish, whereas this is like, not glossy, but like smoother looking finish, you know? So this should look pretty rad. I'm gonna assume that we pop out these collars and the rubber pieces around the collars off of the stock fender and transfer them over to this. Oh, dude, I'm trying to show the camera the fender and I just throw it across the garage. What the hell? Anyway, collars back in, they go on the outside, and then it comes with new hardware that already has some Loctite on it. Can't believe I just threw that shit, dude. Okay, now very carefully, we're gonna get the wheel back into place. Watch out when you're, yep. This is definitely easier with a second set of hands, but I don't have that. Slide the axle into place. I also don't have a rubber mallet. I left that at home, so I'll just take the soft handle of an Allen key, put that up against it, and then, what's that meme? Modern problems require modern solutions or something like that. Now, I don't actually have the service manual for this bike, so listen to me at your own discretion, but I'm gonna assume that it's the same. Ooh, that doesn't fit with that. Yeah, I'm gonna assume that it's the same as the Rebel and the CB500X. One of them is 38 foot-pounds and the other one is 40, so we're gonna do 40. That's 40 foot-pounds. Then it calls for 16 foot-pounds on the right, AKA throttle side, pinch bolt. And then interestingly enough, the way that both of their manuals call for the next step is that it says, with the front brake applied, pump the fork up and down several times to seat the axle and check the brake operation by applying the brake lever and pedal, and then tighten the other one to 16 foot-pounds. So I would assume that means off of the stands. Okay, build back up brake pressure. And then tighten the other side down to 16 foot-pounds. Okay. Seems like everything's Gucci. Okay, after a successful little rip around the parking lot here, I can confirm everything seems to be working as normal. But again, if you have any doubts or questions about taking your front wheel off, definitely consult a service manual, not a YouTuber. But I mean, honestly, just look at how good that looks. Definitely my kind of mod where you can kind of like not even tell that the bike didn't come that way unless you know the bike, you know? Which I guess makes sense since technically Honda made the part, but you get it. If you couldn't tell before, you should be able to tell now just how much shorter this is, but not so short that it's going to compromise any protection, hopefully, because you can see how far it still comes down back here, but I guess time will be the judge of that. Overall, I could not be more excited about all the stuff that we did today. Well, yesterday and today. If you couldn't tell by the wardrobe change, it's now tomorrow. Well, it's today, but it's yesterday's tomorrow from filming. You get it. Shout out to the Patreon members for making all of this possible. Could not be doing this without you, and I hope you're stoked on this video's Polaroids. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Catch y'all in the next one. Love you guys. Peace.
Oh, so basic, hope you play this. Damn, I prayed it, nice song and I became this. Oh, souls fake it, paid those placements, fuck shit. And I'm still waiting on the brighter days. Been a minute, been rough many times more. And I'm kicking rocks to a sky of gray, praying hard, talk to me before I'm done for.